seemed to get a little bit ahead of herself while discussing economic plans and referring to a Harris administration.
Need to make sure you have a president in the White House who actually sees you, who understands your needs, who understands the dignity of your work, and who has your back. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, the Biden-Harris administration will have provide access to $100 billion in low-interest loans and investments for minority business owners.
Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans to find meaningful careers, to ensure teachers know how to support military children in their classrooms, and to improve support for caregivers and survivors, so much more than we do now.
I love this. They basically just acknowledge what we've all been saying. So, Donna, is it a Harris ticket, a Harris Biden ticket, or who's running for president?
Well, this was a calculated move. This was signaling to those people that have been questioning Biden's mental stability that it's going to be Harrison that's going to be in charge, that he's simply a placeholder. For African Americans, this is her code for saying, you know, he's going to have the title, but I'm really going to be running things.
You think it was intentional?
It's a calculated, intentional.
Oh, that's interesting.
Calculated. It's like when the lawyer in the courtroom asks the question or makes a statement knowing that it's going to be overruled. You can't hear what you heard.
Right.
And so this was very calculated. This was making sure that people didn't question his mental ability to do the job because they already know that she's ready to come in and take over. And for a lot of never-Trumpers and people and liberals that hate Donald Trump and his Democrat or die, this for them is their way to be okay with pulling the button.
Interesting. Jamie, was this calculated?
They're both reading from teleprompters. I mean, there's no way you could possibly mess that up. They're both reading from teleprompters. So I do totally agree with Donna that this was a calculated move. The problem is there's this calculation somehow Kamala Harris will be a better candidate than Joe. And that's just absolutely not true. You just look at her and you can tell that with just the way she comports herself, she's not in charge. But yeah, they're both reading from teleprompters, and this is totally a plot as far as I'm concerned. There are no accidents unless you're Joe Biden. I mean, it's so clear.
There's no way this was a mistake. Jamie's absolutely right. They're reading off the teleprompters. Now, you could make the argument that Kamala Harris was going off memory or whatever. She misread something. But we all understand that Joe Biden does not go off of the teleprompter. So he was absolutely reading something that was prepared for him. The question is, what is the gambit here? I think it's clear that they're signaling what this administration is actually going to be. And there's no question about the fact that Kamala Harris is a dangerous individual and would be in the Oval Office, and she is not someone that even her own party selected. So,
All right. Earlier this month, the Trump administration directed all federal agencies to cancel training sessions rooted in critical race theory, a radical philosophy promoting a false notion of systemic racism. Here's more on that.
A memo from the director of the Office of Management and Budget said the agencies should, quote, cease and desist from using taxpayer dollars to fund these divisive, un-American propaganda training sessions. Agencies were directed to identify spending related to training on critical race theory or white privilege. The memo goes on to say the president and his administration are fully committed to the fair and equal treatment of all individuals in the United States.
This is such an interesting topic. Tell us why you picked it.
Oh, I picked this one because this is Jim Crow repackaged. This is nothing but identity politics rebranded and designed to keep the liberal hierarchy in place. This is so damaging. You know why? Because it perpetrates the bias that it claims to eliminate. And more importantly, it has the same psychological impact on communities that the N-word did during segregation and slavery. It says that there's a superiority-inferiority relationship and that minorities need permission from white Americans to give them permission to succeed. And that's so far from the truth. There are a lot of people that want to keep this kind of thinking in place. Why do you think people are so outraged? Because they've been feeding minorities this belief that the system is geared against them because whites control it and you have no power over your success in your community.
Right.
And I'm outraged by it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've always believed that what I thought about myself is more important than what anybody else thinks about me, and my success is my own. But this takes the responsibility out of the hands of minorities and puts it into other people's hands, and so that they stay under control.
Right. Andrew, you run a large company and you've also been in the federal government. What do you think about the federal government teaching on race and teaching that basically white people are bad?
Well, look, I think that it's clear that this is a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. Having served in the administration and in DOD in particular, I can attest to the fact that there is this sense that executive agencies sort of form a fourth branch of government, and that is really the root cause. That is the deeper problem here. So when we look at federal agencies engaging in this sort of behavior that is so far outside of what the American people believe in, we have to acknowledge that, yes, we need to stop the bleeding there, but truly what is affecting the patient is the fact that that executive agencies think that they can make decisions on their own without regard to what the American people are looking for from them. So yes, step in the right direction, but there's a lot more work to do.
All right.